My name is Evan Erickson. I'm a classical clarinetist and composer from Iowa. I just graduated from the University of Memphis this past May with a degree in music composition. Here, I received a full-ride scholarship as a performer, became a national award finalist in composition, and hosted a charity for underprivileged music composers around the world. This video showcases what my life has degraded into after I came down with a mononucleosis and pneumonia co-infection August of 2024. At this point, my illness has progressed into something called myalgic encephalomyelitis / chronic fatigue syndrome, also known as ME/CFS or just ME, which is an underfunded, under-researched, and complicated disease that acts on multiple body systems. My life now runs on relentless neurological pain, dysfunction, and a body that functions at about 15% of what it once could. Despite falling ill my senior year, I was honored with my department's Award of Outstanding Achievement for my advocacy work these past 4 years. I say all of this because I was a highly active university student. I had no health issues. I worked hard. I wanted to work hard. This video is something I needed to make to show you what life looks like with a debilitating and misunderstood disease that makes you invisible. Myalgic encephalomyelitis / chronic fatigue syndrome is a complex, multi-system disease characterized by crippling fatigue, cognitive dysfunction, the inability to stay upright, and other symptoms that can become so debilitating that as much as 25% of those with the disease are housebound or bedridden like myself. It is most often triggered by viral infections like COVID or mononucleosis, but can be triggered by anything that causes extreme stress on the immune system. Everyone with this disease experiences an at least 50% reduction of their pre-illness life, even those dubbed with mild ME/CFS. The defining trait of this disease is post-exertional malaise, which is an extreme worsening of symptoms 12 to 72 hours after physical or mental exertion. This is also known as a crash. Something as small as a short walk or 15 minutes on my phone can rebound into feeling like I have a hangover, just ran a marathon, both at the same time for days, weeks, and sometimes even months. Every single activity I do has the potential to cause me extreme amounts of pain tomorrow. There is no pushing through this because you will keep deteriorating until you can no longer move. At its worst, I was on the floor with daily episodes of seizures, paralysis, and complete intolerance to all light, sound, and touch lasting for 2 months. I was tortured for 2 months because I went to a doctor's appointment. You might be astounded to hear that the CDC says 1% of the United States has ME/CFS. That is 3.3 million people, 1 in 100 Americans. But even that number is from 2015, well before COVID. With the appearance of long COVID patients, of which 50% of them meet the criteria for ME/CFS, the current estimates have jumped to 5 to 9 million in the US, or 15 to 30 million globally. Think about that. 2 to 3% of the United States has gone completely invisible. It's as if everyone in New York City disappeared one day. In the past decade, ME/CFS was proven to be a physical illness, not psychiatric. But the mechanism for what has physically gone wrong in our bodies is not yet proven. The best theory offered is mitochondrial dysfunction, limiting the oxygen that gets into your cells and brain. But that's primarily where the research has stalled. There are no proven treatments, no answers, and what little funding for research we have keeps getting cut by governments. 75% of people with ME/CFS cannot work, making our disease cost the U.S. economy between $18 to $51 billion each year in lost income and medical costs. Most healthcare providers lack the proper education needed to diagnose and educate patients on this disease, which commonly leads to dismissing a patient entirely or giving medical advice that significantly worsens them. This happened to me, and this happens to millions with chronic conditions. ME/CFS patients are living with a quality of life that can be compared to devastating illnesses like MS, AIDS, and some late-stage cancers. But we are still just an afterthought. Today, I am putting a magnifying glass up to my life. I've documented a post-exertional malaise crash for you. The overwhelming and constant symptoms, the panic attacks, the paralysis, the peeing in a bottle, everything I've done in 2025 has been contained between the bed and floor of 2 rooms. A life so microscopic in scale compared to the heights I once reached. Since my birthday on February 16th, I haven't left the perimeter of my house out of fear for how much I will suffer tomorrow because of it. Since my birthday, I've averaged less than an hour of human conversation per week because I tremble and fall into stroke-like states afterwards. Since my birthday, I've pounded the floor begging God to kill me 3 different times from the pain I was in, only to collapse into paralysis because of my outburst. Pretty often, when I'm lying still, I don't feel too awful. It's resting, it can be comfortable. But then I remember how much it hurts to watch TV, listen to music, play video games, or do anything else. So I just keep laying there. I don't like having to choose between showering or getting to call my best friend, but these are the choices I'm forced to make every single hour to still find ways to care for myself. The past year has been a 24/7 fight for survival with no breaks, no pay, and no human connection. You too are just one virus, one accident, or one tragedy away from this being your life as soon as tomorrow. Think about how much life has happened for you since last August. Friends, travel, meals, laughter. Were any of those joys truly out of reach for you, even once? My life will look like this until either a treatment is invented or I spontaneously heal. I'm confident I will improve from where I am now, but ME/CFS is lifelong, and improvement is not part of the story for everyone. Most people don't get to go back to who they were before a traumatic event in their life. Accepting that this is part of me now is what allows for starting to build a new life around this disability. There are hundreds of millions of people suffering invisibly and alone for an unfathomable amount of reasons. That's what makes us human. I am still a person. We are still people, and we can't afford to be forgotten.